Imagine the police showing up to a film set to arrest the homeowner for stealing a dead rock star's body and burning it in the desert. That actually happened, and it is not even our number one. Film Gorilla presents 10 forgotten 70s thrillers worth hunting down. Number 10. A tech company once handed a movie studio nearly $5 million worth of real computers just to get some screen time. Executives at Control Data Corporation saw this film as a massive marketing chance. They supplied the actual hardware and the technicians to run it for free. But there was a catch. Because these were real working computers, the soundstage had to be totally modified. They installed 7 gas heaters and 5 dehumidifiers to keep the air perfect. Brink's guards watched the machines 24 hours a day. The crew was not even allowed to smoke or drink coffee near the set. The story itself has deep roots in reality too. Author D.F. Jones worked with computers in Britain during the Second World War. He knew all about the original Colossus computer at Bletchley Park. If the activation sequence looks familiar, that is because Universal reused the footage later. They used the exact same shots to show Steve Austin getting his bionic limbs in The $6 Million Man. Coming up, a film where the lead actor was accidentally knocked out cold by a real police officer during a chase scene. Number 9. James Coburn once got knocked unconscious by a real police officer while filming a scene where he was supposed to be running from fake ones. 2 actors in uniforms were chasing Coburn around a corner in New York City. He ran straight into a real cop who had no idea a movie was being made. The officer dropped Coburn with a single blow from his nightstick. Production had to stop while Coburn sought medical treatment. This movie also got onto the radar of some very powerful government agencies. Originally, the script used the real names of the FBI and the CIA. Pressure from above forced the filmmakers to rename them to the FBI and the CEA after the movie was already shot. If you watch the actors' lips, you can clearly see them saying the real names while the dubbed voices say the fake ones. The director even managed to sneak in a joke about the head of the FBI at the time. He named the fictional agency head Lux, which was a popular brand of vacuum cleaner. It was a direct jab at J. Edgar Hoover. Coming up, a director who used a Playboy bunny to distract crowds so he could film a secret scene in Grand Central Station. Number 8. To film in Grand Central Station without attracting a massive crowd, the director hired a Playboy bunny and a male model to start making out on the stairs. While everyone was distracted by the couple, the real crew was hidden nearby, filming with a camera inside a suitcase. This was the only way to get the shots they needed. This film was a total disaster when it first premiered. European critics at the Cannes Film Festival were so hostile that director John Frankenheimer refused to even show up for the press conference. He sent lead actor Rock Hudson instead. Poor Hudson was left alone to answer questions from a room full of angry journalists who hated the movie. The film features some of the most realistic surgery scenes of the era. They used actual footage of a plastic surgery operation. The cameraman fainted while filming the procedure, so Frankenheimer had to take over and finish the shots himself. It is now considered a cult classic, but it took decades to get there. The director later said it was the only movie to go from a total failure to a classic without ever being a success. Coming up, the cult classic with a real custom synthesizer that became the main inspiration for the band Daft Punk. Number 7. One of the actors in this political nightmare was arrested for attempting to bomb a police station just after production wrapped. Stan Armstead was a real-life activist playing a protester, and his story ended up mirroring his character in the worst way. He was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison. This movie feels incredibly raw because many of the performers were not professionals. Director Peter Watkins hired real protesters and real-life conservatives to play the 2 opposing sides. He did not give them a script, and there were no rehearsals. He just let them improvise their lines based on their actual personal opinions. This created a level of genuine tension that most thrillers can only dream of. The film was shot on 16mm film to give it a documentary feel, and then blown up for the theaters. Critics were completely divided. Some thought it was a frightening masterpiece, while others called it an anti-American mess. Many people were just angry that a British director was being so critical of the United States. It remains one of the most controversial films of the decade. Coming up, the cult classic that inspired the look and sound of the band Daft Punk. Number 6. The electronic heart of this cult classic is a massive synthesizer that still exists today and was the main inspiration for the band Daft Punk. The members of the band claim they have seen this movie over 20 times. The electronic room where the main character composes his music used a real custom-built instrument nicknamed Tonto. It was covered in hundreds of knobs and was featured on several pioneering albums. Today, it is on permanent display at a music center in Canada. Filming the movie was actually quite dangerous. Actor William Finley was almost crushed by a real record press during a disfigurement scene. The crew put foam pads and wooden blocks inside to stop it from closing, but the machine was so powerful it started crushing the wood anyway. Finley was pulled out by the crew just in time. He later joked that his scream in the scene was for real, though he actually dubbed it in later. There is also a great inside joke with the music. When the villainous swan is adjusting the main character's voice, the singing is actually provided by the composer, Paul Williams. Coming up, a movie so focused on cars that Steve McQueen turned it down because he was tired of driving. Number 5. Steve McQueen turned down the lead role in this film because he was tired of being associated with fast cars after making Bullitt. Director Walter Hill had been an assistant director on Bullitt, but McQueen felt he had already done everything he could with car chases. The result is a thriller that feels like nothing else from the 70s. Not a single character in the entire movie has a name. They are all addressed by their jobs, like the driver or the detective. Hill wanted the film to have a specific visual style, so he used the paintings of Edward Hopper as his main influence. This gives the city a lonely, neon-soaked atmosphere. French actress Isabelle Adjani joined the cast simply because she was a huge fan of the director's previous film. There was also a significant subplot involving a bank robber and his girlfriend that was completely cut from the final version. The director later regretted losing those scenes because he thought the acting was so good. He only cut them because he felt they took too much time away from the main rivalry between Ryan O'Neal and Bruce Dern. Coming up, the revenge movie that was so violent, the audience tried to attack the studio staff. Number 4. The test screening for this revenge flick was so violent that the audience literally tried to physically abuse the studio staff in the lobby. Screenwriter William Goldman called it the most violent reaction he had ever seen. People were horrified and sickened by what they saw on screen. The filmmakers expected the ratings board to give them an X rating and were shocked when they got an R with no requested changes. This is one of Quentin Tarantino's favorite movies of all time. He even named his distribution company Rolling Thunder Pictures after it. The lead actors went to great lengths to look the part. James Best put ice cubes under his cowboy hat during every scene to make sure his character always looked like he was sweating in the Texas heat. He actually turned the role down at first because he hated the profanity in the script. He only changed his mind when he heard that Tommy Lee Jones and William Devane were starring. The producers originally told the crew to make the torture scenes as bloody as open-heart surgery, and they definitely delivered. Coming up, a movie where the police showed up to arrest the owner of the filming location for a real-life body-snatching case. Number 3. While filming at a house in Los Angeles, the police showed up to arrest the owner for a real-life body-snatching case. The owner was Phil Kaufman, the road manager for rock star Graham Parsons. Kaufman had recently stolen Parsons' body from an airport and burned it in the desert to fulfill a pact they had made. On the day the police came to take Kaufman away, director Arthur Penn turned to lead actor Gene Hackman and said that they were shooting the wrong movie. This film also marks the debut of Melanie Griffith. The movie is packed with references to classic cinema. One character mentions a boy named Billy Danruther, which is the exact name of Humphrey Bogart's character in the movie Beat the Devil. The director actually changed the title from Dark Tower at the last minute because he did not want people to confuse it with the Towering Inferno. Coming up, the grit-soaked masterpiece where the lead actor wore the director's actual sunglasses to copy his personality. Number 2. The lead actor in this grit-soaked masterpiece spent the entire shoot wearing the director's actual sunglasses to copy his personality. Warren Oates did not just want to play the part, he wanted to become Sam Peckinpah. The atmosphere on set was described as a sense of total defeat and melancholy. This was partly due to Peckinpah's heavy use of cocaine during the production. The screenwriter was so disturbed by the director's mental state and unpredictable behavior that he swore he would never work with him again. James Coburn was originally offered the lead role, but he hated the script so much that he asked Peckinpah why he would even bother making such a movie. Despite the chaos, this is the only film in Peckinpah's entire career where he had the final cut. Every other movie he made was re-edited by the studios. Harry Dean Stanton almost replaced Chris Christopherson in the film, which would have made for a very different energy. It is a bleak and uncompromising look at greed and desperation that only Peckinpah could have delivered. Coming up, the movie that Francis Ford Coppola had to win in a bet with a major movie studio. Number 1. Francis Ford Coppola won the luxury limousine used in this film on a bet with Paramount Pictures. Coppola had complained about the cramped station wagon he had to share with 5 other people while filming The Godfather. The studio told him that if The Godfather made a certain amount of money, they would buy him any car he wanted. After the movie became the biggest hit in history, Coppola and George Lucas went straight to a dealer, picked out a blue Mercedes, and told the salesman to bill the studio. That car is the one you see Cindy Williams sitting in at the end of the movie. Coppola had actually written the outline for this story way back in 1966, but no one would give him the money until he became a superstar director. It remains his personal favorite of all his films. Gene Hackman took the role so seriously that he learned to play the saxophone specifically for the movie. To show the main character's obsession with detail, they recorded the same lines of dialogue multiple times with different readings. This allowed the character to interpret the same conversation in different ways as he cleaned up the recording. It is a haunting masterpiece about privacy that feels more relevant today than ever. Every one of these movies got buried, and every one of them deserved better. So here is the real question. Which of these are you adding to your watch list tonight? And which fact did you flat out refuse to believe? Tell us in the comments, and if you want more forgotten films that nobody talks about anymore, subscribe because we dig these up every single week.